Hello everybody, we are back with this week's real estate update. I'm Jennifer with the Delbro Group, and this week I am here with Daniel.
Daniel Del Rio.
And today we're going to be talking about, is the market going to correct? We're getting a lot of questions about if we foresee a change in the market, if we see values changing. But before we get started on that, Daniel, I know a lot of people know you here, but for the viewers who don't know you or want to know a little bit more about you, would you like to share something about yourself with our viewers?
Well, everybody wants to know the answer. They don't want to know who I am. I want to know the answer. Shoot, is the market going to correct? But we'll dive into it. So Daniel Del Rio, I am the team lead of the Del Rio Group. I've been in the business for 20 years and have been working in real estate in Central Valley for the last 18 years.
And Daniel is the backbone of our team. We could not be here without this man. And it's true. He is the backbone of our team. So,
yeah, I have a bigger water bottle than you, but you have a little small cup and I'm going to drink out of this.
This is for decoration.
So hopefully it's not awkward, but I'm just going to leave that right there so everybody knows that my water bottle is big. So, anyways, thank you so much.
He gets his water intake for the day.
I'm only as good as all my team members, and Jen, you've been amazing putting these videos together, and everybody, I've got a lot of positive feedback. Everybody on the team is just stellar, so I'm just a small portion of a bunch of leaders in our team, and I just love what we're doing in our industry and how we're changing everything and the dynamics that we have. So I'm super blessed to be working with people like you.
Likewise. So what is it that you tell clients? Because I know even just last week one of my relatives was like, hey Jen, when do you see the market changing?
Yeah.
What are you telling people when you're asked these questions?
Well, the first part is the market is going to change, right? There hasn't been a time in the history of this nation that the market hasn't gone up or down. I mean, it's just reality. It's going to happen. When it's going to be, it's the question. A lot of it has to do with the affordability of homes. There's a lack of housing. That's a big deal. So we either have to fix the supply chain and oversupply the market, which we don't see a quick fix to that in the near half decade, really. With a lot of news articles saying that builders are actually pulling back on building. We're not fixing the supply issue, number one, right? The second thing, the thing that I think is that I know is most important in pricing is terms. Right now, the rates are so low, they dip back down under 3%, which just lights the fire in the housing market. And that's what happened last year, and the market just took off, and we wiped out a ton of inventory. So you have a lot of these young families and young buyers, if you're 22, 23, 25, 30 years old, and you're going into a home, you can't find a place, right? And yet, if you go into the rental market, you can't find a rental either, because the rental market has gone up over 30, 40% in rental rates because of a straight housing issue, right? With that said, if the government does change the rate and increases that term, a 1% change in interest rate is equivalent to 10% in pricing. So the way that we're going to see this market slow down is if the rates do go up. If they go up to 4%, you could see maybe a 10% to 15% adjustment in pricing. If it goes up 2%, then you could see up to 20%. Now, the question that a lot of people get lost at is well, should I wait for the market to correct? And that's where a lot of the mistakes come in at. Like, there's a cliche phrase that people say is the best time to buy real estate is today. The second best time to buy real estate was 20 years ago. But there's a lot of truth to that, because what it is the price might be better, but the terms might not be. And if you have the right price and you don't have the good terms, then you're actually worse off than the person that paid a higher price with better terms. You know, and I'll have Josiah put up a bunch of numbers if we can, so people could kind of follow along with some of the numbers. But reality, what happens is if the pricing of homes goes down 10% and the rate goes up 1.5%, the people that buy homes 10% cheaper are actually paying more on a monthly payment than somebody buying today. So if you go back in time and if you were to ask your parents what would you do 20, 30 years ago when it comes down to real estate, and looking at prices today, you're like, man, I would have bought more real estate. So I did an article for the Modesto Bee, and we went through that. We said, well, let's go back 30 years in time. My dad purchased a home in 1990 over off Creekside Golf Course in Modesto, off of Clouds by Johansson High School, and he bought that house for $157,000. his interest rate was over 10%. This is 1990, right?
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think back and you're like, okay, what was his payment? He put 20% down payment. His payment was, I have it written down as $1,321 a month, which is low, right? Today, that house is worth $475,000. We're like, well, see, that's a lot more than it was back in 1990. So I should have, like, my dad should have bought a bunch of houses back then, right? It's easier to give yourself advice looking backwards. But if we really look at the numbers, that payment today, if somebody puts 20% down, is about $2,131 a month. So compared to $1,300 to $2,100, there's a bigger and higher payment today. But if you take into account inflation, that's where the numbers change. Because if you look at what $1,300 was in 1990 to what it is today, we're talking about $2,800 a month in today's dollar.
Yeah.
So if I were to go back in time and I give my dad advice, I would be like, buy more real estate. But yet, that's the same advice we can't take today because we're questioning the peaks or valleys of markets.
Mm-hmm.
But reality, if you buy a home today, it's a long-term plan. So your goal is to lock in your lifestyle over 30 years, just like my father did, and eventually pay off your property. And not be in the market of the rental market, where if you're in your mid-20s and now you're in your mid-30s and you were in the rental market, you know and you've experienced rents going from $1,100 for a 3-2 to $1,900. That is a big jump, right? So with the way that the government's putting so much money into our economy, what do you think is going to happen to inflation? What do you think rent prices are going to be? What do you think housing prices are going to be? And you have to price that in. Like, can you lock in your lifestyle today, right? So at $2,000 a month in a rental payment, you wait 2 years for the market to come down 10%, 15%. Well, you just threw away $50,000. So if the property values do go down 10% and you're able to buy a home for $45,000 less, it doesn't matter. You just threw away $50,000. You're net even, right?
Well, and you haven't even started your loan, the 30 years of the loan, you haven't even started that. So
and it goes back to the initial point too. What if the rate is 5.5%? Then you're actually paying more a month than you were in the past. So, like, if you want to take control of your lifestyle, you want to take control of what your living expenses are, and cast out for 30 years, you buy a home. Best time to buy real estate is today. Second best time was 20 years ago. But it's hard to give ourselves that advice today. But as we could see, even if I went back 30 years in time, I would tell my dad to buy more homes. Well, it's easier said than done. His payment was $1,300, equivalent to $2,800 today. We can't even take that advice today because I get lost in the conversations as property's going to go up or down. It doesn't matter. Over 30 years of time, you're going to see a decline, an increase. You're going to see a lot of volatility in the housing market. The issue is you're locking in, the key is you're locking your lifestyle. You're not going to be stuck in this whole inventory game, which is a big crisis. I wouldn't even go into that. That's a big topic. We could talk for half an hour about that. And you lock in your lifestyle, and over 30 years you pay off your mortgage. And that's the beautiful part of it. So to answer the question is there going to be a correction? If there's a change in terms, which is interest rate, yes, you'll see a pullback. Or if they oversupply the market, which we don't see. But in reality, over a 20, 30-year period, your best bet is if you're positioned in your financial capability to purchase a house now, I would advise you do that and you lock in your lifestyle for the next 30 years.
And it's true what you said, because I remember when I bought my first house, which you actually helped me sell many years ago, I got the house for more affordable, but my interest rate was like 7%. So it might have looked nice as far as a dollar tag, but as far as my payment, I was paying a lot more in interest than we are seeing today.
Yeah, a lot of things change too. You know, you talk about back then, and time is going to solve a lot of things. I wouldn't help you buy two or three houses. I mean, you've been very busy. You don't only just work in real estate, you practice it. Like, and being able to see firsthand has been amazing. So, and watching our clients grow that way is amazing. Another key that I wanted to talk about with time is inflation, right? You got inflation's a big thing. Inflation hit very hard. When you bought that property, it was at the low of the market, but then the government pumped in trillions of dollars in our economy, so the dollar's valued a lot different today. You're able to sell that property, you know, exchange into a different property, make a little more cash flow, or buy another single family for you to live in. But a lot of the things that people don't realize either is that's going to look like in the next 10 to 15 years. And we could maybe do another video about this, but the fact that the average household income in 1990 was $30,000, right? The average household income, $30,000. Yeah. Today, it's, according to Case-Shiller, and I have it right here, it's $79,900. So not only does it make sense to go back in time and buy a house today, right, when you look at inflation, but then at the end of the day, when you look at it, we're also making almost 3 times as much as we were in the past.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge thing with buying a home. You're really investing in your future. So if you start today, you start investing in your home, you start investing in your family.
I love this topic. I love what we do. I love our clients. Right?
And it can be a really scary question. I feel like people are petrified right now. They're like, what's going to happen? Is it going to change? But it's really about, does it make sense for you and your family? Yeah.
And the important thing that our team talks about is you're not in this alone, right? We've had clients for 20 years. We're the highest reviewed team in the whole valley, right? And the conversations that we have is we'll stand with you when we're buying a property now, but you better bet if the housing market does go down 10 or 15%, we'll be here to answer the call every single time and talk you through everything. Because a lot of it is emotions. And if we could be a soundboard to kind of help you see the bigger picture today and even be there and answer the call if the market does come down a bit, we're here to do that. And we did that in the last correction, and we'll continue to do that moving forward in the next 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, and I remember that's something you had shared. You helped someone buy last time the market was high. It went down, they freaked out, but they held on to it, and now they've made money on it.
The house is paid off. That's the beauty of real estate, you know.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you, Daniel, for being here. I appreciate it. Before we go, I also wanted to let you guys know about the...
Yes. We're giving away a vacation.
It's for real.
Yes.
A trip for 2 to Cabo or Hawaii.
And the reason why we did Cabo or Hawaii, just in case you don't want to get your passport, you don't need your passport to go to Hawaii. But Cabo's also great. All we need you guys to do is show us some love on Google, Yelp, or if you're a past client, on Zillow. Every entry, every review you leave us is going to be an entry to this. So tell your friends. We're going to be giving it away in September.
No, October.
October.
Beginning of October.
October.
Yes, right after the client event.
All right, and we're super excited. We're going to announce it prior to our client event, so that's coming up, and we're super excited for that.
Yeah. Enter. It's for real.
Yes.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed our video. As always, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. Have a good day, guys.
See ya.
Bye.